I do like this asymmetric 4-1-2-2-1 that we've set up this year, but getting it to fit Preston was beset with problems, but worth it in the end. Let's go and find out what's happened. Let's go and kick some balls. Hello and welcome back to The Road to Glory, Part 62, Season 7, here at Preston. And we are a month into our new job and things are going very well on the pitch, and we have turned them from relegation fodder into possibly now a mid-table team, and we're currently in 16th place. We have 28 points from 23 games, and we have had half a dozen games in charge, and we are doing very, very well. Before we go into what's been happening, if you are new to the channel, then why not? Subscribe, like, watch and comment, help the channel to grow and help us to support the very, very good stuff that you can see scrolling up above. And while we're on the subject, many thanks to Thomas, who's the latest contributor to the Just Giving page that we set up a little while ago. And we are now almost at £200, which we've raised in about 3 weeks. And that is absolutely phenomenal. Many thanks to all of you, and many thanks to our latest contributor, Thomas. If you want to donate, then it can be as small as £1 or £2. It doesn't really matter. Everything will mount up, and we will make a difference. Okay, so let's get on to what's been happening here at Preston. And when we took over, they were in dire problems. But what I've done is adapted the asymmetric system to fit Preston. It seemed to me, when I was looking through things, to be a very good fit. And we've had some very, very good results, including the last game we played 2 days ago against Norwich. Let's go and see what happened. And today we will be playing 2 games. We will be away at West Brom, who are a few places above us in the table, and this should be a very close game. And then our toughest test of all, we will be at home to runaway leaders Middlesbrough, who are in very, very fine form at the moment. And this is going to be a tough game. But let's have a look what's happened on the pitch since you were last here. And when you were last here, we had won 2 games on the trot. We had beaten Ipswich Town in our very first game by 4-2, and then we beat Fleetwood by 1-0, and it was a perfect start in our career here at Preston. And then we had a 1-1 draw against Blackpool as the team were adapting to the new tactics, so it was a very good result. But unfortunately I felt like maybe it was falling apart because we lost away at Sunderland by 1-0. No shame in that. Sunderland are a very, very good team. One of the teams tipped for promotion. Whether they can do it, I don't know. They played well against us. We did defend well, and we were a bit unfortunate to lose that game by 1-0. But then we bounced back and we beat West Brom at home by 1-0, and followed that with a 1-1 away draw at Stoke. And then against Swansea, we beat Swansea at home. Swansea, who are currently struggling this season, and we managed to beat them by 1-0 at home. And then finally, that game 2 days ago against Norwich, where we beat them by 3-1. Norwich, who were second in the table at the time, we've now pushed them down to third and pushed ourselves up the table into 16th. And so we have these 2 games. I'd like to think we can get something out of the game against West Brom, but we're not too optimistic about the game against Middlesbrough. But my task here at Preston this season is just to get them to survive and to avoid the drop. And so far, things are looking good. We are going to lose games and we are going to be outplayed at times, but the team has responded really well, and at the moment things are looking very good. And if we continue our current form, then we could possibly become a mid-table team. And so it's been quite a brilliant start to our career here, and we have won 5, drawn 2 and lost 1 of our opening 8 matches. That's a great start. And if we actually go and have a look at current form, and we will find that, I'm pretty sure, here, and in the last 5 games we are sitting in 7th place, and so we are up amongst the big boys in terms of the state of play since I arrived. And that's quite remarkable for this Preston team. And it's quite remarkable because when I got here and I actually started to think about how we were going to play long term, this side is beset with problems. And when you do come to a new club, one of the things you've got to do straight away is find the way that you're going to play. And you're going to base that largely on what the strengths are of the team and then factor in the weaknesses. But when I looked through the comparison in terms of where we are in the league, it was absolutely dreadful. And there actually are no strengths at all. In fact, they're really quite a poor team, and nothing is a strength except for penalties and throw-ins. The only strength we have are penalties and throw-ins. And so what I had to do in this case was to deviate from what I would normally do. And if you are interested in finding out what I would normally do, we are running an Under the Bonnet series at the moment, which is a live stream, which will be on again on Tuesday. And on Tuesday I'll be running through how I'm going to set up the Burnley team in preparation for the season ahead with them. And so we're going to run through everything that I will do in order to try and maximize the potential of the team. And Burnley, let me tell you, also have a few problems we need to deal with. But let's focus on Preston and what we decided to do. We had to work really backwards. I had to start from scratch. But we are using the asymmetric system, and we've devised a system that has maximized what this team can do. And just briefly to run through it, we are playing with this asymmetric system, and we do have winger on the left with a fullback on attack. We have inverted winger on the right with a fullback on attack. In fact, the fullback here should be on support, so we'll flick him over to support. I'm not that optimistic against West Brom. Defensively, we were very, very poor, so I decided that we needed to have help at the base of the midfield, somebody there to help out. But I combined that with using the DLP. We have a couple of good defensive midfields who can play at DLP, and so that was the perfect role to put in there, help out the defense, hold his position and start spraying balls around. It looked like we were extremely poor at crossing and dreadful at heading. How it actually turned out on investigation that we had a number of players on the left who could cross, did have pace, good dribbling and could cross the balls. And this is why we are playing with a winger on the left and a fullback on attack, but we'll have an inverted winger on the right, because on the right we're not as good at dribbling, crossing. Our composure's not that great and decision making's not that great on the right. So on the left we seem to have a strength in terms of players up and down that byline, but it's not as strong as the rest of the teams in the league. So we are playing fairly narrow, and we're going to play low crosses, because even though we can cross the ball, we don't have any players up front who can actually head it. So it made more sense to me to play fairly narrow. Also, because the only thing that we do possess possibly is a little bit of pace on the wings, I decided to play the ball into space, and we can't pass, so I'm just using a standard tempo and a standard passing direction, which will fit with the play into space. We're not very good at finishing. In fact, we're pretty awful at finishing, which is why I want to work the ball into the box. And in transition, we possibly are the worst pressing team in the world, so we're not going to counter press. but we are going to counter-attack. Because we're not very good in the middle of the field, I'm going to get the goalkeeper to distribute it to the flanks, and he will throw it long. I can't have him kick it because he's dreadful at kicking. And then out of possession, I'm just playing a mid-block with a standard defensive line. We lack pace at the back, and so by compressing this into a mid-block, it does mean that the defense will get a bit more help than they normally would with a high press. And also it does free up space. If we're going to pass into space, we need to create that space. And so I'm hoping that as teams come at us, it's going to create space on the flanks further up the pitch. Because we're poor at pressing, we're just going to play a standard press, and at the moment where I'm instructing them to drop off more to make sure that they're in positions when we lose the ball. And then I don't want them crossing into the box because we're very poor at heading, and so we're just going to try and prevent them from crossing. With that in mind, we are going to give teams the outside. I don't mind teams coming at us from the outside, but I want our fullbacks to press less often. I do not want the fullbacks pressing hard, and I want them to just stand off and allow them the space outside, but then prevent them from crossing. That's the plan, and it seems to be working at the moment, and we will do the same thing for this fullback. I don't want him pressing the winger. I just want him to stand off, and then when he gets into this area, stop him from crossing. And that's the way that we set up, and it was based on all those things that I told you, and we'll look in detail in the live stream at how I actually went through that. In this case, I went through it backwards, but I'll show you the process that I would normally go through when I'm setting up a style of play. And a style of play is more than just the tactic. But on to Preston now. We have two very, very big games to play. We have West Brom away, and if we can win that game, we'll really start to look like a serious team. And then we have our biggest test of all. We'll be home to Middlesbrough. This West Brom game is a particularly tough game because we played 2 days ago, and so the players have not had a great deal of rest time, and maybe that will take its toll on us. And we're going to play Middlesbrough 3 days later, so squad rotation is a bit important here. And against Albion, we're going to rotate a few players because we have some very tired players there. But now is a good time. Let's go and kick some balls. And so the team for today, in a very rotated team as we played only just a couple of days ago, is Woodman in goal, with Hughes, Jones, Lindsay and Marusic at the back. Whiteman, Mohammed, Ruiz in midfield, with Doherty, John Jules and Niandulu up front. And it is a very rotated team, and to be fair, I actually am surprised by how well we are doing, and it does mean that it is going to come off the rails at some point. And this may be the point that it's actually going to come off the rails. I don't have an assistant manager at the moment, so I'm still trying to find one, so I don't have any advice in terms of what to say. And I'm just going to say we're doing well. Let's keep this going. I have faith in you, and I think you can do well. Make me proud, make a difference. And I think it's really important as we begin our tenure here that we keep praising the players, keep telling them how wonderful they are. And it's been a very, very quiet start, and nothing really is going on in terms of possession. We haven't had any of the possession so far. But it is going to be West Brom with the first highlight, and they are looking to bring it out down the left, and we need to close, well, we don't want to close their left-hand side down, but we want to close down the right-hand side. But they have found a way, and they are getting it into the box. There's a chance. It's a good save, and it's cleared away. But they are coming back at us, and it's not the greatest of starts, which tells me that something's not working. But we've done well at the back, and that's what I focused on in the main, is that we have to be defensively solid. And so far, we've been defensively solid, and we haven't allowed them to create too much. We haven't created anything, on the other hand, and it might be that later in the game we have to take a more positive approach. But for the moment, I'm quite prepared to take a draw away from home against a very similar team. It's all good for morale, and if we can just keep it 0-0, that will be good for me. And here's a ball over the top, looking for Niandulu, but that's intercepted by West Brom and back to the goalkeeper. Everson, their goalkeeper, is in extremely good form at the moment, so we'll have to do well to beat him. But West Brom, probably a better team than we are at the moment. They are bringing it forward again, playing it from the back, but I'm allowing teams to have that space at the back and to just stay off them. We don't want to be pressing too hard, but that's a good tackle and well won, and John Jules is bringing it forward. It finds its way to Whiteman to Niandulu. He's looking for Doherty down the left. Can we get a cross into the box? And here is, and it is a chance. Doherty's into the box. He has a chance and he scored. We are a goal ahead. It's West Brom 0, Preston 1. We are quite effective up front. We don't create too many chances. We don't have the greatest passing and vision. We're not the best creative team. But the way it's set up means that we are crossing and getting into positions inside the penalty area. And you can see we had 5 players in the box there, all waiting for the opportunity. It was a lovely run into the box by Doherty. He had 3 players he could have crossed to. He chose to take it himself. It's West Brom 0, Preston North End 1, and that is just about as good a start as I could have hoped for. And here is Mohammed, young lad who's come in today, playing as the box-to-box, and we've got dispossessed. We got ourselves in a mess. Here come West Brom. It's a great save. One of the things that we do have is a great goalkeeper. That is probably the only saving grace about this team. It's a fairly even game at the moment, but we are ahead, and there's a cross into the box. There's a chance. It is 2-0, and Doherty is playing out of his skin. He is my first choice on the left, playing as a winger. He is today playing out of his skin. It's West Brom 0, Preston 2. We are still keeping this going. The way we have set up seems to be suiting them. It's working really well. That 3-1 victory against Norwich came as a complete shock to me. It was a lovely cross into the box, but using his feet, not his head, he managed to guide it past the goalkeeper. We are up now to 13th place. If we can keep this going to the end of the game, we are in 13th place as it stands. This has been a huge turnaround for Preston, and at the moment it's West Brom 0, Preston 2 as we go into half-time. And I'm going to say it's important to stay focused. Let's really do the job here. Don't get complacent, and let's go out. And I have to be careful that we have some tired players on the pitch because we played a couple of days ago. And I will check in a minute once we get to about 55 minutes just to make sure that players are not too tired. We may have to change things about a little bit. But it is West Brom coming forward. Looks like they are going to take the game to us in the second half. But we're going to stop them from creating goals from long passes, which is why we are dropping the line back. It's why we're not pressing. We're going to stand off them. As you can see, we are standing off them. And we will start pressing them once they get into our half. And unfortunately, though, the press didn't work here. And here come West Brom. They are in possession. They are in a good position here. They could get the ball. There is a chance. They are going to score, and it's a brilliant save by Woodman. As I said, he is a very good goalkeeper, and I think that it's very important that we have a good goalkeeper this season. It's still West Brom 0, Preston 2, and we have cleared, but it's come out to West Brom. I think we are going to need to make changes. They are playing a lot better in the second half. They do have a chance. They have scored, and I think that it's time to look at what's going on here and make a few changes. It's now West Brom 1, Preston 2. It was messy. Defensively, we were all over the place, and that was a poor tackle. And unfortunately, I think it's come off Mohammed, the young lad, and it's gone in for an own goal. But let's go and have a look and make some changes. And I'm not going to panic, but I have made a couple of changes, and I've had to change the DLP because he was looking like he might be tiring. But we have a good replacement on the bench, and I can see that West Brom are also tiring. So it's not just us who are going to tire. They also played 2 days ago. We've actually, in terms of match momentum, we have actually dominated the game. In fact, no, West Brom have dominated the game. We've just taken our chances better. And maybe I should be making now our final change. Time to make our final change, I think. And so we have made final changes. We are, in fact, allowed to make 5 changes. I'm quite surprised at that. And we have made our 5 changes now. And here's a corner, and we have been working hard on set pieces too. Scored a lot of goals from set pieces. We scored a couple against Norwich. At the moment, the game is still West Brom 1, Preston 2. If it finishes this way, it's going to be a perfect result. A great start to the episode here, and time is ticking over. We don't want any more highlights, FM. We just want you to see this out, and the game has finished, and it's finished as a victory for Preston. It's West Brom 1, Preston North End 2. Our run is going. It's going and going. And I'm just going to say, everyone thought we'd lose, but you've done it again. And we have produced the result now. But that takes us up to 14th in the table. We have 31 points. We're looking more like a mid-table team than we are a relegation team at the moment. And I couldn't have asked for a better start to this episode. And so if we look at what's coming up in the schedule, 3 games, 3 victories on the bounce. That is absolutely brilliant. We've won 4 of our last 5 games. But now the biggest test of all for this team is against Middlesbrough. And I think we could get a result. Who knows? I'll be very, very happy if we can get a draw. But this may be just one step too far for this tactic, for this team. And so I'll play out the next few days, and we'll be back in 3 days' time for the Middlesbrough game. So I will see you there. And so the team for today is a little bit of a stronger team than we put out against West Brom, but I don't feel very optimistic against Middlesbrough. The team is Woodman in goal, with Hay, Bernard, Lindsay and Marusic at the back. McCann, Whiteman and Ruiz in the middle, with Doherty, Jean-Jules and Surridge up front. And if we come out of this with anything at all, we will have done much better than I could have expected. I expect a heavy defeat here today against Middlesbrough. I don't think that we are strong enough, and I don't think that defensively we are good enough to keep Middlesbrough out. Unless Woodman has the game of his life, then I don't think that we can expect to get too much out of this game. But let's just put on a good performance and see how we get on. There is a highlight straight from the kickoff, which is always a bit of a worry. Something generally is going to happen at this point. And here's Lindsay to Marusic. We're trying to slow things down. Part of what we want to do is play narrow so our passes find their targets. And there's a chance that we've scored. And we have taken the lead in the first minute. It is Preston 1, Middlesbrough 0. I don't believe this. It's something quite crazy is going on here. This has to come to an end at some point. It was a lovely pass, and Jean-Jules, who my assistant did not want me to play today, I decided to play him. He was fresh, and he hasn't been in the best of form, but bursting through in that shadow striker position, he's put us a goal ahead. And Middlesbrough don't seem to be much in the game in the first 10 minutes, and we've kept them at bay. The tactic is working perfectly, and if you do set up your team according to their strengths, sometimes you're going to get results like this. and we are now up to 12th. This would be phenomenal if we can keep this going. We're actually dominating the match, but Middlesbrough, a very dangerous team. We've given away a penalty, have we? No, we haven't, and we need to clear, and we have. It's up the field, and it's Surridge who's picking up the ball. He's lost possession, though. That was poor, but he's won it back and lost it again. And Surridge is not playing at his best at the moment and needs to have a kick up the jacksie, I think. And here come Middlesbrough. They are in. They have equalised. It didn't last very long. The lead only lasted 18 minutes. And Middlesbrough are back in the game. It's Preston 1, Middlesbrough 1. They are a very, very good team. And if we are going to constantly lose the ball in the middle of the pitch like that, then we are going to give them chances. It's their first chance. They've scored. We've only had one chance. We've scored. Is it that kind of game? Let's try and create some more chances, boys. We've absolutely dominated the match so far. Middlesbrough have hardly been in it. I do want to try and find out, though, who is causing the problems. The centre-back looks like he's causing most of the problems. But we do have a free kick, and it is Bernard over the ball. And I think he should go left, personally, and that's where we should be looking. And now the team have decided to go left. Lovely ball through to Sturridge. First time hit, we've gone 2-1 ahead. And Surridge, who scored 4 or 5 goals since I've taken over, didn't play in the last game because he was extremely tired. But we've gone 2-1 up, and we've had just 3 chances and scored twice. Middlesbrough have had 1 and scored once. I think it's going to be quite a high-scoring game if this keeps going. And we are still in the lead. We've retaken the lead, and we do have a free kick outside the box. And here's Whiteman, and there's a header at the back post which just goes over. And a bit disappointed with that. We worked hard this week on set pieces, and it's really nice to see that we're in the top half of the table now. And I could not have ever imagined this when we took over at Preston. And when I looked at the strengths and weaknesses of the team, it was a job and a half to try to whip this team into some sort of shape. We're doing better than Middlesbrough in all areas at the moment, and I'm going to tell them, keep working hard. We don't have the best work rate, but I'm noticing how tired Middlesbrough are, and maybe they are struggling more than us in terms of fitness. Maybe they haven't rotated enough. I can see that McCann is very, very tired. He's been playing a lot of football, and maybe it's time to go and make some changes now. So we've made a couple of changes for now, but nothing too drastic is going on at the moment. We're totally dominating Middlesbrough and really can't work out what is going on with Middlesbrough. They're not looking extremely effective at the moment, and we've kept them completely at bay. And here is Ruiz bringing it forward. He can't get the ball under control. Maybe he needs to come off. Maybe he's feeling the pace a little bit. And it is Middlesbrough who have the ball, though. And it would be nice if we could get something out of this game. I don't want us to be doing anything silly at the moment. Just keep our shape, hold on to what we're doing, keep it going, focus at the back, and hopefully we can come away with the 3 points here, which would be an absolute miracle. But it is Middlesbrough. They are looking threatening. They are tiring. They're very, very tired, and they're still trying to play it around. So they're not looking to launch things over the top. But here they are in. There's a chance. But is he offside? He looked offside to me, referee. And I'm sure VAR has to take a look at that. Was he offside? The linesman didn't think so. It's a goal. The goal is given. He looked a yard or 2 yards offside. That is offside. And that is, I feel that we have been cheated there. That goal was offside. Unless they're deciding it came off the goalkeeper. But that looked dodgy to me, and I'm not too happy about that decision. But it's come out to Doherty on the left. We do have a chance. Get it into the box. He's going to try one of those shots again, but this time it doesn't work out. Maybe what I need to be telling him is is don't shoot so often and look for players in a better position than yourself. The moment it's 2-2, we're still doing very, very well. And Middlesbrough really haven't been in this game. We've been the better side, but unfortunately and there's a chance, and it's hit the goalkeeper. A good save. He was given offside there, and it remains 2-2, and a point would be nice, and we need to just try and hold on to this. I don't want us to be doing anything spectacular. Just hold on to what we've got and keep playing the way we're playing. We're dominating them and should be getting something out of this game. But here come Middlesbrough. That's a good tackle, but it falls to a Middlesbrough player again, as it does in FM. And you tackle someone, there's a shot, and Middlesbrough have gone ahead. And I really do feel aggrieved at this. We've been the better team, and in fact, I'm now going to go positive. I'm now going to go attacking, because I think that we've been the better team, and maybe we could get something out of this game if we attack them at the end. But this is diabolical. Middlesbrough have been totally outplayed. They've had 4 shots and they have scored 3 goals, and we have been the better team and just haven't converted our chances, although I would say that we've done very, very well. But unfortunately, we've just found the Middlesbrough forwards in absolutely splendid form. And here's Doherty looking to get the ball into the box, but he can't. And we're probably going to suffer because I've changed the mentality now. But I had to do it because we're the better team. And I do feel we should have got something out of this game. It's Middlesbrough again. It's a great save from Woodman. And unfortunately, the game is not going our way. It's time to make some changes. And looking through the teams, I mean, I can see that Middlesbrough are extremely tired, and we are in much better shape than they are. But we've had a number of players who didn't have good games today. I've now taken 1 or 2 of them off, and it's unfortunate. We should have just made better use of our chances. Middlesbrough took their chances better than we did. But I was expecting a defeat, and if that's what we get, that's what we get. But John Jules is in the box. There's a chance, and it has been saved. And we were, again, unfortunate there. We are putting the pressure on Middlesbrough. I feel unfortunate. We've dominated the game. We've absolutely been the better side. But it's going to be Middlesbrough who win the match. And the final score is going to be... Oh, we do have one more chance as Whiteman will look to get the ball into the box. It's headed clear. It will come out to Whiteman again. Chips it over the top, and there's a chance, and it's gone in, and we've managed to pinch a point right at the death. Jurandra, if that's his name, Jurandra, I don't know, I don't care. He's managed somehow to squeeze that one in. Whiteman's pass over the top. It was a beautiful strike. Juandra has made it 3-3, and we'll take that at the end of the day when a defeat seemed to be the order of the day. I'm going to say, if we look at the numbers, we should have won that, and we should have. But 3-3 against the runaway leaders, and we are still in 14th place as we're coming into the new year. And we were in 21st position when I took over. This has been quite a remarkable run by this team. What's been happening, what's been going on. Then we can see, since we arrived at that opening game against Ipswich, our form has been dramatic. And look at what it was like prior to my arrival. We are in a good place at the moment, but these games keep coming thick and fast, and January is going to be a busy transfer window. We have 6 or 7 players that we are releasing, trying to sell, and then we have a little bit of money, 7 or 8 million that we can spend. So maybe it's going to be a very busy transfer window. I'll come back for the game against Cardiff and Fulham, and the transfer window at that point will be shut. And that's it for this video. And if you are new to the channel and you like to see me suffer, then why not subscribe, like, watch and comment. Help the channel to grow. Help us to support the very, very good stuff that you can see scrolling above. And I am a very, very happy manager as we sit here in our office at the end of this episode. As we go into the new year, we're sitting pretty and we're looking like a mid-table team. All that remains to be said now is see you in the next episode.